In this video, we're gonna build a real ink demon animatronic that actually attacks you.
We're Jaimie and Jay, and we love making scary animatronics. On our dog day video, we got our first taste of using pneumatics, and we are totally hooked. We're gonna do that again, but this time on one of our most requested characters ever, the Ink Demon.
The Ink Demon is a character from Bendy and the Ink Machine, but we're doing a bigger, kind of scarier version from the second game, Bendy and the Dark Revival.
It's an awesome horror series that takes place in a vintage cartoon studio, and the character is basically like this corrupted cartoon that's come to life.
Also, before YouTube, I used to be an animator, so a horror game about animation, it's like a bunch of my favorite things all squished together, so let's do this. We're making this thing life-size, so it's gonna be really heavy, which means it needs to be really strong.
On dog day, we had our friend help us build this huge steel mech, which worked perfectly. So we're gonna do the same thing again, only this time we're gonna make it ourselves.
We're gonna try to, anyway. So we got a bunch of steel, we got some measurements.
We even made these cute little miniatures to help us figure out the pose.
There is one huge problem though. We don't know how to weld. And unfortunately, you can't just duct tape and hot glue metal pipes together.
Luckily, my dad's a welder and he offered to give us a crash course.
I've always been kind of intimidated to try welding. There's like hot metal and gas and sparks and it's just kind of intense. But once we tried it, I was surprised how quickly we were able to get the hang of it and do some basic welds. Look, I made this weird thing.
I love it.
Okay, I spent the last week or so practicing and I'm pretty confident that we can get started, so let's do this. You guys, look, I made a rectangle.
Woo, it sure is a rectangle.
Hey, this is a big deal, okay? This represents, learning a new thing, and it's gonna hold up all of our hopes and dreams. And the Ink Demon, I hope. And the next step, we have to cut some angles, and part of the reason we made these cool miniatures is so that we could figure out the pose and exactly what we wanted it to look like, and then we can come in here with a protractor, and we can use this to figure out exactly what those angles are, so we can cut them. We made legs.
They're so cool.
And wait, watch this, ready?
It's gonna support you?
I hope so.
Woo! Nice.
It's really strong. Couldn't do that on PVC.
Nope.
So definitely the most challenging thing so far with the legs is these actually are compound angles. So the bottoms, they bend inwards and backwards, which means you gotta cut angles in two directions. And that took us a while to figure out, but we kind of just took our time and did the protractor thing and it worked.
It did. We cut this first piece like 4 times, but it worked.
I think we're good to go to move on to the next step.
Yeah, let's keep going on him. While Jay is welding, I need to figure out how we're gonna actually make the shape of the Ink Demon. So I had him weld me up a little leg to do a test on. The Ink Demon is very sculptural. He's got muscles that are weirdly deformed and these ink blobs, and it's a work of art, and I have to try and recreate that on top of steel. So I have a couple ideas and I'm just gonna test it out and see if it works. So that was pretty easy to rough out the basic shape. We've got his hoof, we've got his weird reverse leg demon horse thing. We think it's called a hawk. Got some starving muscle here. Now we're gonna try something that we've seen our friend Alan Hops from Stiltbeast do a bunch of times, and that is sculpting with spray foam. I think this is gonna work really well, so I'm excited to try it.
Okay, I added another little part of the waist right here, and I also welded up essentially a torso. So there's the back, and this is gonna be the shoulders, and this is all gonna go right here. But to attach it, we're actually gonna use a hinge, which is gonna get welded on, and then this whole thing is gonna kind of go like this. And once it's attached, we're gonna use this pneumatic air cylinder, and it's gonna get attached right here, and as this pushes open and closed, it should make the whole thing move. At least that's the plan. I've got half the cylinder welded on the bottom, and now if we take this off, you can see as the hinge rotates, the cylinder pushes it open and closed. That's how we get our movement.
All right, it is dry, and it's It's a little bit more lumpy bumpy than I was hoping. I wanted more drippy bumpy.
Lumpy bumpy?
It's lumpy bumpy. So I got this really cool fabric. It's like this, you know, it almost looks like wet ink. And my hope was that I was gonna wrap this around here with some spray glue and it would really fit the form. The problem is it's not nearly as stretchy as I thought it was gonna be. So instead of wrapping nicely, it creases. I don't know, maybe we can do something else with this fabric. I have a couple more things I want to try. I don't love all of the line texture in here, so what I'm gonna do is mix up some silicone, tint it black, and see if that's gonna give me the drippiness that I'm looking for. The other thing is much simpler. We're just gonna spray paint the top part of this black and put a gloss coat over it and see if we're happy with that.
I mean, that looks just like ink.
It does. It's really thick too. The silicone looks so freaking cool, especially compared to the top where it's just the spray paint. Like, this looks like it's made of ink. This is perfect. I really hope it stays like this.
It's been a few days and I finally got this whole thing put together, so let's check it out. At the top of the shoulders, we added a neck, so the head will attach right here, and then there's a cylinder, which is gonna allow the head to move up and down. On this arm, we added cylinders for the shoulder and the elbow. So this is gonna be like the attack arm. So he's gonna come up and kind of be like, ah, like, you know, something like that. But I think we're finally ready to test this thing and see if it works. Oh, I forgot with the cylinders, it's like, there's no in between. It's open or closed. So as soon as I plug it in, it's like, the whole thing's
He's like walking.
Whew. This is legitimately dangerous. Like, that would take your head off. We've made a death trap. All right, that works.
What are you doing?
I was afraid of this. I'm trying. Okay. This is not strong enough to lift this enormous upper body. I kind of thought that might, like, as we built more and more of this, it's real heavy. And I was thinking, like, this tiny little 3/4 inch bore cylinder, it literally can't lift it. So,
Are there bigger ones?
yeah, for sure. There are definitely bigger ones. There's just not even close.
Womp womp.
Okay. I texted Mike from Hallucinations. He's the one who built our Dog Day mech and the one we got these cylinders from. And I basically asked him what to do. He said to send him a picture of this, and he just says, oh crap. Yeah, you definitely need like a 1.5 inch bore, so twice the size of this at least to lift this thing up. So we gotta get some bigger cylinders.
While Jay's out getting parts, I want to show you what I got him and my dad for Father's Day. They're hover pens, and they're made by Novium, the sponsor of today's video. Father's Day is almost here, and if you're looking for a super unique gift for the dad in your life, these hover pens are perfect. The hover pen floats at the center of its base without any electricity. It's like magic. They designed it to sit at a perfect 23.5 degrees, which is the same angle as the Earth's axial tilt. This Interstellar edition also has the option to have a meteorite shard embedded inside, which is 20 million years older than the Earth itself. There are 4 great colors available, so you get the version that matches your dad's desk or workbench or whatever. Everything we do these days is digital, so if you're gonna sit down and actually write or draw something, I think it should feel special. And honestly, this is like the nicest pen I've ever held. And I really love like the art meets space design aesthetic of these. It's just so nice. My dad helped us so much on this project, and I can't wait to see the look on his face when he gets a space pen. Use code WICKEDMAKERS to get 10% off your hover pen and get yourself or the dad in your life an incredibly cool gift. There's a link right in the video description that you can click and get yours today.
Okay, this is the air cylinder that was not strong enough to lift up the waist, and this is the new one. This should be about 4 times stronger than this little one, so we're gonna swap this in, but we do have a problem. These things right here are called clevis mounts, and Mike sent me these for the small cylinders, but unfortunately, they don't fit the big one, and we don't have any, so we're gonna make some. Okay, there it is. Look how big that thing is. I mean, I'm probably gonna learn at some point what I've done wrong here, but as far as I can tell, it's the same thing, it's just bigger. So let's test it out. Test number 1. Oh! Yeah! Yes! I didn't think that was gonna work. Did you see that?
That was awesome.
Okay, ready? Oh man, this is great. I'm gonna have to tune this a little bit, of course. So pumped, that was awesome. It works. Hold on, I'm gonna hook up the rest of it. Waist, elbow. Comes up. Okay, this is gonna take some practice, but all the parts work and nothing's broken yet. Fingers crossed.
The silicone has fully cured and the sheen has not changed a bit. It's super shiny and it still looks wet, so that is awesome. If you put like your finger on it, it's gonna get some fingerprints and it's probably gonna collect dust over time, but I think we should be able to just wash it off. Yeah, so it's fine. Now that the body's ready to go, I'm gonna start with the legs and basically recreate what I did with the test piece. So first will be our foam noodle pipe insulation thing, and then tinfoil, then our spray foam, and then paint, and then silicone. It's a lot of steps. We had to pre-run all of the hoses down the back of the legs, and the foam didn't exactly fit over all of that, so I just spanned the gap with some duct tape. What you got going on over here?
We are making the head. Do you remember on Catnap when we carved the huge head out of foam and that was a total mess? So on the next one, we 3D printed it for Dog Day and that worked really good, right?
That was amazing.
And since this is also a steel frame, we can 3D print the whole head again and it'll support the weight, hopefully. Also, we can get like the teeth and the horns and stuff, all the little details would be great. I started on the first piece. This is gonna be the back of the neck. And there's a steel plate, and this will get welded to the neck, and then it goes in here and kind of bolts on, and the rest of the head will go like this. As usual though, there's a ton of pieces, and it's gonna take a really long time to print, so we're gonna get that started. What's that?
What goes there? His butt. All right, I made a wireframe for his torso, and this is like the start of the shape of him. We do this for a couple of reasons. One is he bends at the waist, so all of this needs room to move inside of here, so this like creates the space for all the movement to happen. And then the other reason is this saves us on materials. So instead of having to build up like this entire mass with foam and tinfoil, now we just have to put a little bit of foam and tinfoil on there. Before we put on that tinfoil though, we're gonna make him a shell out of duct tape, like this.
All the 3D printing of the head stuff is done. It took about 4 days to print all these parts on our Bamboo Labs printer. And as usual, we use 3D Fuel's Pro PLA filament to print all this stuff. It's an ultra rigid PLA, so it's like really easy to print, but super stiff, which is great for these giant heads. So we've got parts of his head, we've got his horns, his teeth, his jaw, we've got everything we need. Let's put them together. So happy that that fit, you guys. It's like you expect it to fit, but I don't know, glue ups are always stressful because you got wet glue and it doesn't, you know, you don't have a lot of time, and if it doesn't work, we'd have to start over, so. Look at that. The jaw is gonna attach kind of like this on some hinges, and then it's gonna rotate up and down like that. But there's a couple things we gotta do first before we put this on. This is the metal plate that we said is gonna go in this little hole right here and then basically get welded to this thing. But we learned on Dog Day that if we don't leave enough space to actually get a wrench in there to, bolt the bolts on, it's like impossible to get it on and off. So this time to fix that, we're gonna weld on some captive nuts onto this plate so that we can screw it right into the plate itself. We could just go ahead and bolt the head on as it is, but I really want the jaw to like open and close. So I've gone ahead and built a few extra parts. Let's check them out. So the first thing I did is I bolted an air cylinder inside the head that kind of attaches up in the top there. And then on the jaw itself, we built this extra arm thing, and this is gonna attach to the cylinder, but also kind of pivot. And when we put it all together, it should work. And now, when the cylinder goes in and out, the jaw goes up and down. It's pretty cool. Now that it works, we can glue in all the teeth and finally hook it up to the head.
He is so cool.
This thing is amazing. We tried to make it like the same size as he is in the game because he's always kind of looking down at you a little bit, so he's like, I don't know, I think we nailed it.
While you were working on the jaw, I decided that I don't want to do spray foam on him because I think he looks pretty cool as is. So I think if we just put silicone on top of the tin foil, it should look good.
And it looks like you added like a bunch of little bones and stuff and details,
Yeah, I
right?
added like his ribs, some chest, like a collarbone, just a little bit more anatomy in there. Okay, before we move on, can we test him?
I think testing it is a really good idea. Okay, official test, number 1. He's in his default pose, everything's plugged in, but here we go, and please don't break. All right, I'm gonna start with the head and the jaw here. Okay, so far so good there. And then we got the arms. Okay, all good there. Now let's see with the waist.
Hey! He's up!
It works. Now we just have to add like 30 more pounds to it when we put the silicone on.
Yeah, nothing can go wrong with that.
Did you hear that? Mm-hmm. Well, that's what the cracking sound was. It's very broken. I think as the head slammed down, it just like separated and it didn't break all the way off, but this is all cracked back here. So I'm gonna have to take this thing back off and fix it somehow. I don't know how quite yet, but we're gonna do that. And then in the meantime, we'll get started on the rest of it.
All right, I'm gonna start at the bottom and work my way up. So, bottom is the hoofs. And to make those, I'm gonna use some foam clay, which I hate and love at the same time. It's really fast to go on, but it takes a little bit to dry, so we're gonna do that now. And I swear I'm not avoiding silicone. I might be avoiding silicone. I'm also going to cover these gaps here with some stretchy spandex material, and then we'll silicone over that, and it should still be able to open and close with no issues.
Well, it's pretty obvious where it broke. This is the bottom kind of the neck, and it's split all along, first where I glued it, but also like up in here. And the reason that happened is because it goes on like this, and it's connected right here. And as it was slamming down, all that force just wanted to like rip this apart. So, a couple things. A, we're gonna re-glue it so that it's back to where it was. And then we're gonna take some fiberglass and we're gonna basically do it on the outside and the inside to like super secure it together. On top of that, I also got some braces, which we're gonna put inside just to make the whole thing stronger. And if we do all of that stuff, it'll, you know, hopefully it'll work.
I've avoided it for long enough. It's finally time to do the silicone. Once we do the silicone, there's no going back. I can't add more muscles and make more joints or any of that stuff. He's like locked in there, so let's do it.
How's it going? Is it working?
Working. This stuff is so thick though. It's kinda, I don't know, it's very gloopy and drippy, but that's what he is, right? He's a gloopy, shiny ink monster.
Yeah, I think gloopy drippy is good.
Yeah. Here he is in all of his gooey glory.
He's so gooey and disgusting, and
It's amazing.
he doesn't even have a head, and he's still scary. Like, look at that.
Yes, he is. We added so much weight to him. Like, we used like 4 bottles of silicone. But,
Yeah, and also like spend our life savings on silicone. That stuff is so expensive.
Yep, but totally worth it.
Yeah, it really does look awesome.
I'm so excited I finally get to work on the head. This is like my favorite part. The ink demon has like these really cool drips coming down his face that don't quite go onto his gums, and those were not sculpted in the model. So first thing I'm gonna do is sculpt those with some epoxy sculpt.
That's weird looking.
I know, it looks like he's got like a weird skin condition going on right now, but we're gonna put the silicone on and I swear it's gonna look better. Here he is. What do you think?
I mean, it looks amazing. Is it way heavier?
It's so heavy. Ink Demon Yellow. That's what I've made. Look how cool he is.
That's amazing. I'm so proud of you. Look at that. That is straight out of the game. Are you happy with it?
So happy. Welding, silicone, making our own pneumatics, sculpting a whole body. So much of this project was trying stuff for the first time and it kicked our butts. But that's how we keep learning and getting better. If we did it all over again, there's so much we do differently, but we're still really proud of how awesome he turned out.
Before we see the final thing, you guys, we just want to say thank you so much for watching. Our wicked shout outs this week go to 8-year-old Sophia who drew us this crazy awesome picture of Dog Day. Also to Zeta, who's super into science and engineering, and big happy birthdays to Teddy and Landon. We love getting letters from you guys, so please keep them coming.
Also, check it out. 1 million subscribers. This is a huge milestone, and it's all thanks to you guys.
Thanks, guys. Big thanks to Novium for sponsoring today's video, and to Jaimie for my early Father's Day present. This thing is sweet. If you want to get your own hover pen, there's a link in the description below. Until next time, stay wicked.